Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Redcast. My name is Eric Lehnen. I'm a marketing lead here at Redpath Consulting Group. Today we're talking about nonprofits and CRM. I'm bringing in Nick Lindberg, our technical solutions lead, to talk about why it's important to consider a CRM as a nonprofit or foundation and how it can help you build a single source of truth for your data. Hi everyone, so I got Nick here with me. So to kind of kick us off, Nick, I know you're an MVP, you've been a big part of the nonprofit team here. I want to know a little, or want you to share your background being part of the nonprofit lineage that you've created and kind of what created this new role for you here.
Yeah. So, if we back it all the way back up to college, when I was in college, I co-founded a nonprofit with three other individuals called Students Today, Leaders Forever. Great organization based out of the Twin Cities here that has a nationwide reach to get students excited about serving in their communities, as well as giving them the skills to make a difference when they come back. So we look at databases specifically to track our supporters, our participants, even the parents of those participants, and creating a web of information that we could then use for knowing who's really involved with us, and B, who can we ask, and tracking that. So I was right around the time when actually the first nonprofit, and I use the word starter pack, came out, now known as the Nonprofit Success Pack. That's what got us into Salesforce, is that A, it was free, B, it had a nonprofit flavor for us, and C, it had abilities for us to customize and configure to make it feel like our own. So those are some of the three main barriers or entry points, not barriers, but entry points for us. And when it came time to implement, we all looked around and said, who is there to implement this? Because we're not paying for someone. We're, trying to fundraise for our salaries still. And so I drew the straw because I knew Excel. So I could, I knew how to do sum if and count if and a VLOOKUP. And so that translated over to, of course, Nick can build a database.
No problem.
And so that's really what got me drinking the Salesforce Kool-Aid. And when it became time to transition out of that role, I wanted to do something, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but a couple people really helped me guide me into that. Thanks, Lena, if you're watching this, helping me decide that Salesforce was the right choice, and that consulting as a whole would be something that would be fun. And specifically consulting with nonprofits would be fun, as I want to kind of stay in that space.
So I want to go back to the point you made with STLF is, you saw it as a tool that you can customize and tailor to your needs. Mm-hmm. And that's very prevalent in, different nonprofits that have different processes. You have foundations that also are managing grants and all their donor base and organization affiliations, as well as, higher eds now. Are using Salesforce and CRM in general just to kind of manage all their constituents. I mean, CRM, constituent relationship management, or customer relationship management. What does it mean for those three types of organizations, nonprofits, higher eds, and foundations?
Yeah, if I one of the one word that really sticks out when you describe what a CRM is, or the one letter translates to a word, is really the R for relationships. And if I look at Salesforce, and if you boil it down to what is Salesforce, it's a relationship database. It's a web of information, web of relationships back to those constituents, to those contacts. And really, if you think about, and why does anyone enter Salesforce, or why does anyone consider Salesforce? It's to be able to manage those relationships and the ability to create a 360-degree view of all of those relationships. Most of the organizations that we worked with, it's not just the fact that they're a donor, or that they've participated in the programs, or that they've gone to school there, or they've received a grant. It's that they have 5-6 different things. It's maybe they're a board member, they're a donor, they're a former participant, they're alumni, volunteer,
all those.
The list goes on, and all those boxes get checked. in a lot of situations. And what those relationships do with a CRM is it really exponentializes the ability to see those. And having Salesforce as a one-stop shop, you don't have to have your volunteer database over here and your program database over here and your grant database over here. All that stuff can be in one solution, and you can, with that one solution, then see all those relationships that exist, whether it be on the record side, so I can see Eric as a record and all the things that I should know about Eric, or I can look at it at a report side to say, show me all of our volunteers, show me all of our volunteers that have donated, and it allows you to do all those types of things. And that's where Salesforce really takes the cake.
And it's not just the data, it's also the processes, the automation that goes behind the scenes to really kind of make things more efficient. You can do so much more than just a lot of people kind of see CRMs as it's an Excel spreadsheet with contacts, your accounts and affiliations, and well, really just it's taking that, and then that's the base of it. That's the foundation. It's the data, and then you have your automation, all the other things that are running on behind the scenes. So what else can you do besides just put the data in?
Yeah, I mean, I think something simple like a roll-up summary field is an interesting use case. A lot of times,
that for people that
so
don't
I mean,
know?
if I think about, if I wanted to know if someone's, say, a volunteer, I could check a box. Or I could have a volunteer record saying when they volunteered and what they volunteered for, and things along those lines. And so there's kind of two dimensions and which way do you go. I like to do more of the relationship. Let's build some data with that. And why I go that route is something like a roll-up summary field. And what you can do with a roll-up summary field is that if I want to track maybe collective volunteer hours someone has done, I can then take a sum of all those volunteer records and take a sum of the hours that they've done, and then have that on say their contact record. Say I can just look right here and say this is how many hours that they've volunteered.
And that could be printed out. You could
print it out. I can
put
run
it in
on a report.
an Excel spreadsheet. If
Put it in an Excel spreadsheet. Exactly. Even things like even with something like NPSP, you have first and last gift dates. Those are effectively roll-up summary fields. NPSP does it in a slightly different way. But it's just that same premise where I wanted to take all these records and give you a key stat or a key metric. And that's really, if I think at what are some use cases that can make Salesforce more than just those tables, is using something like a roll-up summary field as stats and being able to make reports. So maybe you can look at a report, say with donors in that last gift date, of donors by the last gift year that they've donated, or donors the first year that they've gave, and being able to come up with some cool charts and graphs that everyone loves. Who doesn't love charts and graphs, right?
If you're an Excel junkie, you know all about the charts and graphs.
You can all Google charts and graphs after this if you really wanted to. We know some of you are doing that right now. So you can create charts and graphs to really showcase that data, because when it boils down to it, your board's always wanting to look at those charts and graphs.
Show me the proof of why this is working, what you're doing, your efforts that you're doing, and how it's all translating into more fundraising opportunities. And that's the other thing too, is it's beyond just the people. It's also the marketing and the fundraising initiatives that happen too. It's those last gift dates. Those are things that you can add in. A letter that you send out to your donor base. Hey, did you know that your last donation to us was this date? Would you want to consider making another donation on that same date, or however you want to do it? But you can filter it and personalize it more, and it's being able to do more with less.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the other layer of the automation that I think about is the ability to take these other systems that maybe you need to have, because Salesforce isn't going to be your complete one-stop shop. It's not going to make your breakfast for you, make your dinner, and put your clothes on for you in the morning. I guess you could, if you really told it to do it. That would be
another episode.
Yeah, we don't need to tell it to do that. There's other systems that do that. And so it's really trying to figure out how do we get these systems to play with one another. And that's where automation can really be key, and specifically for strappy nonprofits and the like in the nonprofit sphere is, using back to our STLF example, we were too cheap to pay for that integration. But there's a lot of integrations between these systems that actually, since I was there, have gotten more inexpensive. So to connect, say, Salesforce to MailChimp, it can be as simple as a free connector to something you paid as little as $25 a month to connect those two systems together and get them to play, where it's kind of a set it and forget it. Or if you do need to go back and set, you're usually updating something like maybe I'm adding a new list or something along those lines, or you're building on what's already existing. And so that's where automation can really be key, is allowing individuals to not have to worry about the admin time, but the ability to focus on the program, because the admin time is, you have that initial investment in the solution, as well as the time to make it work. And then it's let's focus on programs. Let's focus on giving more money out to individuals. Let's focus on our students, whatever that may be, what your mission is. You can focus on that more as a result.
Thanks again for watching this video or podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. We highly encourage it and really welcome the support. You can find all of our other discussions on YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes. And this is where you can find our other topics about marketing automation, CRM, Salesforce, and a host of other topics.